Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jim Jobin from Pod Therapy, wishing everyone out there a happy Father's Day. And if you've been a regular listener to the show, you know that I am writing a book for my kids, and it's called Love, Dad, and it's just filled with lots of fatherly wisdom and little anecdotes and things like that. And I've got my kids here with me. What's your name?
James.
How old are you?
8.
Good job. Do you like to read books?
Yes.
Did you know Daddy's writing a book?
Yeah.
You did? You knew that I was writing a book? Oh.
I want to say it.
You want to say it too? What's your name?
I'm Juliana.
What's your middle name? What's your whole name? What's your big name?
Juliana Marie Jobin.
Very good. And how old are you?
2 years.
You're 3 years old? Oh my goodness. Do you like to read books too?
Yeah.
What kind of books do you like?
Peppa Pig.
You like Peppa Pig. Did you know Daddy writes a book?
Yeah.
You did? Okay. Well, mine doesn't have any pictures in it. So I thought for this special Father's Day episode, I would share a few selections with you guys from my actual book. Just a few little bits that I've enjoyed writing. So happy Father's Day to everybody out there, and make sure you love on your dads. Can you kids come over here and say Happy Father's Day?
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day.
All right. Enjoy the book, guys. I want to explain the tone of this book. Actually, I don't want to. But less than that, I don't want to read hate mail. So, here we are. First, let's start by defining some words. Advice is something you get from people who have an opinion and want to share it with you. Good or bad advice is usually helpful and lays out options. It's a suggestion, offered with a grain of salt, tentatively laid upon the altar of your scrutiny in the hope that you will judge it valuable and accept some or all of it. Dadvice doesn't give a damn what you think. It knows better than you, and if you're smart, you'll listen. Dadvice cares about you deeply, but has limited patience. It belies the wisdom of the ages, is self-evident and enlightened, and is currently reclining on that park bench over there with its hands clasped behind its head and its feet crossed out straight in front of it. Dadvice has a take-it-or-leave-it attitude. It knows you'll come back around sooner or later to say that it was right. Second, this isn't a book, at least not in the traditional sense. It's a bunch of notes that I'm writing to my children. For the most part, these are raw, unedited, and meant for the kids. You'll notice that I'm talking to them in my writing. But feel free to imagine that I'm talking to you too. After all, not everybody has a dad, so I'm happy to be yours if you need one. On the other hand, if you do have a dad, and I sound a lot like him, it's okay to imagine that it's him talking. As a franchise, dads across the world generally consent to you giving us credit for smart things that other people say, so I'm sure he's fine with it. Okay, that's it. Thanks for reading. Love, Dad. Choose patience. It drives me nuts when people say they ran out of patience, or that they snapped because an unlikely series of events occurred that gives them permission to self-destruct or ruin the lives of others. That's not how it works. Patience is not a limited resource, something you can run out of or run low on. Patience is an inexhaustible choice, an action that you can do an infinite number of times until you choose to stop doing it, like breathing. When you're stressed, don't indulge in the fantasy that you have permission to lose your cool. Patience is a choice, not a commodity. Love, Dad. Step into a pitch. When you were little, you were afraid of playing catch. I tried to teach you to keep your eye on the ball, but even when I floated it gently at you instead of snagging it with your baseball glove, you'd retch away like it was a snake. Your fear of the ball was insurmountable. I tried encouraging you, reminding you, even drawing a happy face on the ball. Nothing worked. Finally, I just pitched one right into your chest. It landed with a thud, and it happened too fast for you to wince or react. You just stared down at the motionless baseball for several seconds. You looked up with a smile, surprised that it didn't hurt as much as you thought it would. You were startled, but fine. You picked up the ball and you threw it back. You've been playing catch ever since. In life, you're going to fear some things. Often your fear is way bigger than the power or pain of the thing itself. Unfortunately, you won't be very comforted when people tell you that, or when you try to tell yourself those things. So your best option is to step into the pitch. Let the ball hit you. Stand up to exactly the thing you're afraid of. Do that, and you'll find that your fear is much more painful than the thing itself. Its sting will teach you that you are bigger and more resilient than you think you are. Don't be afraid of the ball. Love, Dad. Don't follow your dreams. You're going to see a lot of posters on walls in school that talk about doing what you're passionate about and daring to dream big. I'm fine with that. But it's stupid to spend your whole life chasing the wind. Dreams are by definition the opposite of reality. They are illusions that only work when you're sleeping. They don't have to make sense. They don't have to be probable. They don't have to live up to the hype. I've met plenty of idiots who have a dream. Since the invention of the internet, it seems there is no shortage of morons who want to be famous for something or rich for no reason. They want to sing a pop song or perform a stunt or be handed a television deal for being a conspicuously obnoxious and unforgettable spectacle. I don't want that for you. Even if you achieve your dream, most people find nothing but emptiness on the other side. That's because after you dream, you wake up. I'd rather you follow your aspirations. Aspire to live a satisfying life, a life filled with stories and fulfilled goals, a real life, not a dream one. Be realistic, and don't cry about it. Don't sob in the corner about how your whole life you've only wanted one thing, and I'm cynically telling you not to do it. If you've spent your whole life only wanting one thing, I pity you. You haven't lived. You've only dreamed. Love, Dad. Let pain teach you. Part of being alive is feeling pain. The only pain-free humans are the dead ones. Discomfort, loss, sorrow, embarrassment, grief, envy, all of it is part of living. Pain has a purpose. It's the simplest and most powerful of all education. You do something, it hurts, you don't do it again. When you were little, I tried to keep you from hurting yourself. I got really anxious about it, if you want to know the truth. I'd freak out when you were hurt and hate myself for not protecting you. I'd wince whenever you were jumping on the couch or pushing back in the chair at the kitchen table, remembering when I've gotten hurt doing the same things and wanting to reach out and stop you. But then I realized, if I stopped you, if I saved you, you'd never wince at danger like I do. Pain can teach you if you're willing to learn from it, if you don't merely shrug it off and avoid it. When pain happens, people will try to comfort you, to console you. You'll want them to, and that's fine. But don't let the pain fade away into memory without taking a lesson from it. And don't be surprised if you have to get hurt lots of times before you figure that out. A man once wrote, "There are an infinity of angles at which men fall, but only one at which they stand." That's a clever way of saying that sometimes there is one right way to do something, and you won't know it until you bloody your nose a few dozen times. Love, Dad. Don't look at the egg. When something is really important, we become afraid of losing it. Sometimes this fear causes us to sabotage ourselves and we end up losing it anyway. Ironically, the only way I know to ensure you don't lose something that is important to you is to look beyond it, to avoid overvaluing it. Imagine that it isn't really there at all. There's a game that illustrates my point. You give kids spoons, place an egg on the end of the spoon, have them race one another. Drop the egg, you lose, finish the race, you win. Inevitably, each kid does the exact same thing. They stare at the egg balanced precariously at the end of their outstretched arm and gingerly pace forward. Their arms sway, their grip tightens, they panic, and before long, down goes Humpty Dumpty. The trick to winning this game is to look past the egg toward the finish line. Do that, and your grip remains firm. Your arm will steady. Your momentum corrects any wobbling until you reach the finish line. The same is true in life. If you become too focused on something that you're afraid of losing, a job, a relationship, an achievement, you'll likely lose it as a result of your focus. A man once wrote, "The soldier surrounded by enemies, if he is to cut his way out, needs to combine a strong desire for living with a strong carelessness about dying. He must seek life in a spirit of furious indifference to it. He must desire life like water, yet drink death like wine." In the same way, look beyond the thing you value and be willing to risk it in order to keep it. Love, Dad. All right, that does it for this bite-sized bonus episode for Father's Day. Thank you to all the dads out there who fill our lives with grace, with wisdom and guidance, and for your love and support. If you've got a daddy out there, make sure you're showing him love. And I just thank you all for listening. If you would like to tune into our regular show, Therapy Thursdays, you can find us at podtherapy.net, at facebook.com/podtherapy, at Twitter @PodTherapyGuys, and you can also write in questions for the show, podtherapyguys@gmail.com. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week, and I hope you all have a pleasant Father's Day.